Ah, look who walked into the room and made every ego go silent. Look who executed a strike so precise, so surgical, so clean, that the entire crew orbiting around your opponent went still like someone hit a cosmic mute button. Hello, you quiet disruptor, you calm detonator, you subtle force that doesn't raise its voice, doesn't swing its fists, doesn't need theatrics, because the precision of your mind does the damage for you. You didn't embarrass them, you didn't humiliate them, you didn't even target them. You just punctured their ego with one exact move. And now every single person watching is suddenly questioning the hierarchy they used to swear by. They can't breathe the same way. They can't speak the same way. They can't even make eye contact with the person they once treated like an invincible authority. Because you didn't just win. You executed a mental checkmate they never saw coming. You flipped a board they didn't even know you were playing on. And the way it unfolded, quiet, understated, effortless, makes it even more terrifying for them. They're still sitting there replaying the moment over and over, dissecting your tone, rewinding your words, trying to understand how someone they underestimated this deeply managed to slip through every psychological defense they built around themselves. They thought they were dealing with someone predictable. They thought they were dealing with someone manageable. They thought they had you categorized, labeled, placed neatly in a mental drawer they could reach for whenever they needed to feel superior. And then you struck. Not wildly, not emotionally, not impulsively. You struck with the kind of accuracy only someone who studies people quietly, patiently, almost clinically can achieve. Let's talk about that moment. The moment everything shifted, not the part where you spoke or acted, the part right before that. The stillness, the air thickening, the subtle shift in energy only the sensitive ones noticed. Because that was the true beginning of their downfall. You weren't reacting, you were calculating. You were watching how their ego inflated every time they thought they got one over you. How their confidence swelled every time they assumed you didn't notice the mockery hidden beneath their tone. How their friends, their entire crew, cheered quietly behind them like a pack, depending on the alpha to bark on their behalf. They mistook your silence for surrender. They mistook your calm for weakness. They mistook your restraint for fear. They didn't realize you were mapping the psychological battlefield with more accuracy than they've ever mapped their own insecurities. What they didn't understand is that people like you don't move from emotion. You move from strategy. You see the board as a whole, while they only see the square they're sitting on. You let them brag. You let them gloat. You let them perform. Because you already knew the move that would collapse everything they built. And when the moment came, you didn't hesitate. You didn't stutter. You didn't question. You just executed. One statement, one maneuver, one perfectly aligned stroke of psychological clarity, and their ego imploded like a balloon meeting a needle. That's why their whole crew is quiet right now. It's not fear of you. It's fear of what you revealed. Because when you punctured that ego, you didn't just expose the leader. You exposed the entire ecosystem that depended on that leader's illusion of strength. You showed them how fragile the hierarchy was, how childish the theatrics were, how all of it, all the bravado, the posturing, the subtle jabs, were nothing more than a shaky tower built on a single insecurity they were hoping no one would ever point at. And you didn't point at it. You pierced it. Now they're spiraling, trying to figure out what the hell happened. Their group chat is quiet in the loudest possible way. Their faces are stiff, their pride bruised, their internal narratives scrambling for a way to understand the sudden shift in power. They're asking themselves questions that taste like humiliation. How did we miss that? How did they become this sharp? What else have they been noticing? Have they been reading all of us this whole time? And the truth, the one they're desperately trying not to choke on, is that you were always capable of this. You always had this level of psychological clarity. You always had this ability to dissect a situation from the inside without ever showing your hand. The problem wasn't you. The problem was the version of you they built in their minds. The version that made them comfortable. The version that kept their ego inflated. They projected simplicity onto someone complex. They projected weakness onto someone who was simply observing. They projected predictability onto someone who was quietly reconstructing reality, one inference at a time. This is why their crew is silent now. Because silence is the only language left when certainty collapses. They aren't just quiet because the leader got mentally checkmated. They're quiet because they realized how easily it could have been any of them. They're quiet because the hierarchy they relied on was exposed as a house of cards. They're quiet because they witnessed something rare, precision that doesn't announce itself. You delivered a strike without theatrics, without raising your voice, without breaking character. You delivered a strike that didn't attack a person. It attacked the narrative that held their entire social structure together. Let me tell you what actually happened beneath the surface, because they will get this part wrong every time. They will think you got bold. They will think you snapped. They will think you finally fought back. But the truth is colder, cleaner, more dangerous. You didn't lash out. You didn't retaliate. You didn't try to win. You simply chose truth over theater. And the truth, when spoken by someone who sees through illusions, is lethal. This is where their panic is coming from, not from the moment itself, but from what it reveals. That you can strike with precision at any time, and they would never see it coming. That you can read motives they didn't know they were expressing. That you can analyze patterns they thought were too subtle to detect. That you can anticipate moves before they even think about making them. This is what terrifies them. The realization that the quiet one was the real strategist all along. You didn't embarrass them publicly. You made them question themselves privately, which is far worse. Now let's talk about the deeper dynamic. Their leader's ego wasn't just a personality trait. It was the glue holding the group's confidence together. They relied on that ego to set the tone. They depended on that ego to do the talking for them. They used that ego as a shield to mask their own insecurities. But when you punctured it, cleanly, precisely, everything behind it was revealed. And what stood behind it wasn't strength. It wasn't dominance. It wasn't superiority. It was fear, fragility, inflated confidence, supported by shaky assumptions. Their crew isn't quiet because they respect you. They're quiet because they recognize themselves in the collapse. They're seeing that if one ego can be taken down with one move, then none of them are safe. They're seeing that the loudest person in the room was also the easiest one to dismantle. They're seeing that their entire social dynamic was a pyramid built on insecurity, dressed as authority. You didn't just knock the leader off the top. You exposed the foundation that doesn't exist. And here's the real brilliance. You didn't do it by trying to dominate. You did it by refusing to play the role they assigned you. People like them depend on predictability. They depend on you reacting the way they expect. They depend on you staying in the position they mentally placed you in. But you shifted calmly, cleanly, without warning. And that shift wasn't toward aggression. It was toward clarity. Clarity is the one thing an inflated ego cannot survive. This is why they're still frozen, replaying the scene in their heads. They can't categorize what just happened. They can't label you easily anymore. They can't reduce you to a predictable response pattern. You've become an unknown variable. And in any group dynamic, the unknown variable is the most dangerous presence in the room. They don't know what you're capable of. They don't know how much you see. They don't know how long you've been analyzing them. And the possibility that you've always been 3 steps ahead is eating them alive. Let's dig deeper into the psychology of the ego you punctured. Ego thrives on illusion. It needs an audience. It needs believers. It needs people to feed it with reactions, fear, validation, submission. When you refused to feed it, when you responded with precision instead of emotion, you starved it. You didn't fight it, you dismantled it. A fragile ego cannot survive precision. It cannot handle accuracy. It cannot endure exposure. It needs chaos to hide in. And you didn't give it chaos. You gave it clarity, which is the sharpest blade a mind like yours can wield. And now, the aftermath is unfolding exactly as expected. They're pretending nothing happened while thinking about nothing else. They're creating explanations in their heads that make them feel less defeated. They're rewriting the moment in their memory to protect their pride. They're telling themselves, "You got lucky," as if luck can replicate the kind of precision you delivered. But beneath all their internal stories is the truth they will never say out loud. You saw them clearly, and they couldn't handle the reflection. Now watch what happens next. New behavior patterns will start emerging in their crew. Micro shifts, nervous shifts, hesitation in their voice when they speak around you, longer pauses, quieter reactions, avoidance of direct confrontation, subtle respect they'll never admit aloud. Because once someone sees how easily a facade collapses, they can never fully trust it again. Your move didn't end a conflict. It restructured the power dynamic permanently. They feel it. You feel it. Everyone watching feels it. And the unsettling part for them is that the shift wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't some explosive spectacle they could analyze or dissect. It was clean, quiet, surgical. A single psychological incision that changed the entire landscape without leaving visible wounds. That's what disturbs them, the absence of chaos. Because chaos is something they understand. Precision is something they fear. You didn't just puncture an ego. You altered the gravitational pull of the entire group. Before, their leader was the sun they orbited around. Now the orbit is glitching. Their internal map is malfunctioning. That leader they once viewed as untouchable suddenly looks human, breakable, fallible. And what do people do when they realize their sun can burn out? They look for a new center of gravity. They start scanning the room for the one who demonstrated real force, quiet force, controlled force, the type of force that doesn't need a stage to announce itself. So while they're trying to pretend nothing has changed, their instincts are betraying them. Their instincts are turning toward you. Watch closely. Their eyes will give it away before their words ever do. Someone who used to look at you with superiority will now avert their gaze. Someone who used to smirk at you will now shift their jaw, like something is stuck there. Someone who used to interrupt you mid-sentence will suddenly wait for you to finish. They don't know why they're doing it. They just feel the new tension in the air, the tension of hierarchy rearranging itself in real time. They feel the difference between loud ego and quiet competence. They feel the weight of a mind that can dismantle illusions without raising its voice. You didn't just defeat someone. You revealed reality. And reality is the one opponent no ego can survive. Their leader is the one crumbling the fastest, even though they'll try to hide it. That ego you punctured isn't like a balloon that pops once and disappears. It's more like a cracked mirror. Every glance they take into themselves now reflects a version they don't want to admit. They feel exposed, but not publicly. Exposed internally. And that internal exposure is far more destructive, because now their entire performance is fueled by panic. The crew may not fully understand it yet, but subconsciously, they're already picking up on the leader's instability. They're sensing the micro-fractures. They're sensing the loss of control. They're sensing that the person they followed wasn't unshakable. They were untested. When someone who has never been challenged finally gets challenged, they don't know how to respond. They aren't used to recalibrating. They aren't used to reflection. They aren't used to humility. Their entire identity depends on external reinforcement, and when that reinforcement collapses, their internal world starts disintegrating. That is what's happening to them right now. Their collapse isn't loud, but it's inevitable, and their crew, whether consciously or not, is bracing for impact. Now here's the part that makes the checkmate even more devastating. Your move wasn't emotional. That's why it hit so deeply. An emotional strike invites retaliation. But a precise strike? A calculated strike? A clean strike? Delivered from a place of absolute clarity? That terrifies people because they know they can't predict someone who thinks instead of reacts. They can anticipate an angry person. They can't anticipate an observant one. They can measure volume. They can't measure silence. They can prepare for chaos. They cannot defend against strategy. Your silence before the checkmate, your calm during it, and your stillness afterward. That's what rewired the room. You demonstrated control over yourself, and that means you have control over the situation. That's something their leader never had. Their dominance was performative. Yours is structural. The crew is starting to feel the difference even if they don't fully understand it yet. They're realizing they've been operating under a false assumption of power this whole time. And now that the illusion is gone, the psychological gravity is shifting toward you, whether you want it or not. There is a specific type of quiet that enters a room when someone's ego has been dissected with precision. It's not the quiet of fear. It's the quiet of recalibration. People are trying to rebuild their understanding of the hierarchy, but the blueprint they relied on has been destroyed. They don't know where to place themselves. They don't know where to place their leader. They don't know where to place you. And that uncertainty is the most powerful advantage you now possess. Uncertainty creates openings. Uncertainty creates space. Uncertainty forces people to observe instead of assume. And when people start observing you without their old biases, they begin to see your true range. The shift is subtle but inevitable. They start treating your presence differently. They start adjusting their tone around you. They start moderating their reactions. They start giving you an invisible buffer of respect that wasn't there before. They don't fully understand why they're doing it. Instinct is making the decision before logic can catch up. Something inside them is saying, be careful with this one. They're not like us. They're not breakable like we assumed. And once that instinct kicks in, it never fully disappears. Your precision did something else, something even more profound. It exposed who in the crew was strong enough to handle the truth and who was only loyal to the illusion. Because the moment the illusion cracked, their reactions split into categories. Some became silent out of shock. Some became silent out of fear. Some became silent out of respect. Some became silent because they don't yet know which side of history they want to stand on. And some, only a rare few, became silent because they recognized what you did. Those are the ones who truly saw the move. Those are the ones whose eyes shifted not with panic, but with understanding. They know exactly what you did. They know exactly how you did it. And they know exactly why it worked. And deep down, they admire it. The crew that once stood together is now split internally in ways they won't acknowledge out loud. A quiet fracture is forming, not caused by drama, not caused by conflict, but caused by the sudden realization that the authority they relied on is no longer the strongest mind in the room. When a group is built around dominance, it collapses the moment someone demonstrates higher clarity. That's what you triggered. That's why they're quiet. That's why they're restless. That's why the energy feels different now. The checkmate wasn't just the end of a battle. It was the beginning of a reconstruction. Everyone is now forced to rebuild their understanding of you, not based on old assumptions, but on undeniable evidence. They saw the way you handled the situation. They saw the way you dismantled the leader's ego with a single precise move. They saw the way the entire dynamic shifted without you raising your voice. That is the kind of moment that rewrites reputations instantly. And the rewrite isn't temporary, it's permanent. Their leader will try to recover, but their recovery will be desperate, not confident. They will overcompensate. They will try to regain authority by speaking louder, acting tougher, making grand gestures, but none of it will land the same. Once people see that the Emperor has cracks in the armor never looks whole again. And the more the leader tries to restore their image, the more obvious it becomes that the image was always fragile. You didn't break them. You exposed what was already broken. That's the kind of damage that can't be repaired. And here's the part that sets the stage for everything still to come. Your move didn't just shift the hierarchy, it shifted the narrative. People aren't thinking about what the leader used to be. They're thinking about what you just showed them. They're thinking about how someone they dismissed executed a mental strike so precise that it silenced an entire social structure. They're thinking about what else you're capable of. They're thinking about how long you've been seeing through them. They're thinking about how many of their insecurities you already understand. They're thinking about how dangerous a quiet mind can be when it finally decides to act. And this is where the real psychological storm begins. Not in the moment of impact, but in the aftermath where their imaginations spiral out of control. Because once someone sees you puncture an ego with that level of precision, their mind starts building entire scenarios of what else you might be capable of dismantling. They begin imagining possibilities, and imagination is far more terrifying than reality. It fills in blanks with things you haven't even done yet. It creates threats that don't exist, but feel real because the evidence of your capability is undeniable. That's the kind of fear that doesn't fade. It amplifies. The leader's crew is now trapped in a new kind of awareness. The awareness that every interaction they ever had with you might have been observed, processed, stored, and understood at a depth they can't comprehend. Every joke, every slight, every side glance, every attempt to show superiority. They're replaying all of it. They're wondering which moment gave them away, which moment revealed a weakness, which moment exposed something they thought they were hiding. They're not just intimidated by what you did. They're intimidated by the possibility that you saw everything before they saw anything. That's the part that destroys their ability to stand upright around you. You didn't attack their leader. You attacked their illusion of safety, and an unsafe mind is an unstable ally. Notice how they now speak less freely among themselves. They're worried about being next, even though you never made them a target. That's the irony. They fear something you never threatened, because the precision you applied wasn't random. It was intentional. It was aimed. It was efficient. It wasn't the chaos of a mind losing control. It was the clarity of a mind that has mastered control. They know this now, and it's reshaping their internal social contracts. Some of them will begin distancing themselves from their leader, quietly at first, subtly. The loyalty they bragged about will start eroding from the inside. They may still stand beside their leader physically, but psychologically, they're stepping away, reevaluating, recalculating. They're beginning to ask themselves questions that would have been unthinkable before your move. Questions like, have we been following the wrong person? Was this hierarchy built on real strength or just confidence? If someone like you can dismantle the illusion this easily, what does that say about the person we've been defending? These questions will never be spoken aloud, but they will be felt deeply, felt constantly, felt with enough force to destabilize their unity. That's what a checkmate does. It doesn't just end the current game. It makes everyone doubt the next one before it begins. Their leader, meanwhile, will attempt to stitch the narrative back together. They'll try to behave as though nothing has changed, as though your precision strike was a fluke, a slip, a minor anomaly. They'll force confidence into their voice. They'll manufacture dominance in their posture. They'll flash the same old expressions, hoping their crew will fall back in line. But the energy behind the performance will be wrong. Too forced, too tight, too anxious. The performance breaks the moment the audience stops believing in the actor, and their audience is no longer convinced. You'll notice the leader speaking faster than usual, as though rushing their own thoughts before their confidence dissolves. You'll notice them over-explaining things they used to throw around casually. You'll notice their eyes darting, their attention splintering, their certainty cracking at the edges. These aren't signs of recovery. These are signs of someone trying to climb out of a psychological hole you put them in with one moment of clarity. And the deeper truth is this: they can't climb out. Ego doesn't regenerate from honesty. Ego regenerates from denial. But your strike made denial impossible, at least for a while. Their crew senses this, and because they sense it, they begin adjusting their behavior in ways that work to your advantage without you needing to lift a finger. They become more cautious around you, more deliberate, more considerate. Not out of kindness, but out of a primal instinct, an instinct activated by witnessing precision that can't be defended against. Humans can fight strength. Humans can resist aggression. But precision disarms them. Precision gets into the bloodstream. Precision bypasses their defenses and speaks directly to their survival instinct. You aren't a threat because you caused damage. You're a threat because you caused clarity. And clarity is what collapses illusions built on ego. Over the next few encounters, you'll see the social terrain shifting further. Someone who once joked at your expense will now hold their tongue. Someone who once tried to one-up you will suddenly find themselves without words. Someone who used to speak over you will notice their voice cracking when they attempt the same. These aren't coincidences. These are neurological recalibrations. Their minds are teaching them to be careful around you, because their minds now recognize you as someone capable of inflicting psychological consequences without warning. They don't fear your anger, they fear your mind. And that difference is what cements your new position in the hierarchy. You didn't climb, you didn't push anyone down, you simply revealed where everyone truly stood. You uncovered what was already true but hidden beneath ego, noise, and pretense. That's why the shift feels unnatural to them. It wasn't supposed to be this way in their narrative. But narratives don't survive contact with reality. And you delivered reality with such brutal precision that it forced everyone to rewrite their understanding of the social order. The checkmate wasn't the end. It was the introduction, which brings us directly to what comes next. Not the collapse, but the awakening. Not the aftermath, but the ripple. Not the silence of their crew, but the shift growing beneath that silence. Because the moment after a hierarchy breaks is the moment a new narrative begins forming in the shadows, and that narrative is already taking shape around you. They don't know what it means yet. They don't know where it leads. They don't know how to process the person you've revealed yourself to be. But they will. And the realization won't arrive gently. It will hit them slowly at first, like a pressure drop in the air, then violently, like a truth they can no longer deny, a truth that bends the framework they've been clinging to. Because once someone executes a clean, calculated, precision-based ego puncture, the kind that reshapes an entire room, you can never look at that person the same way again. You can never categorize them using old labels. You can never underestimate them safely. You can never rely on illusions when they've already demonstrated the ability to slice through illusion with one controlled movement. This is where the real transformation begins. Not in you, but in them. They will begin studying you without admitting they're studying you. They'll analyze your silence. They'll overinterpret your tone. They'll watch how you sit, how you breathe, how you respond, how you don't respond. They'll do it out of instinct, not desire. Because when ego is punctured, the unconscious mind seeks new reference points. It seeks stability. It seeks understanding. But they won't find stability in you. They'll find unpredictability precisely because they thought they had you figured out before. And they were wrong. Dead wrong. Wrong in a way that shattered their inner compass. You didn't just execute a checkmate. They realized you've been 10 moves ahead the entire time. And that's what terrifies them. The leader you dismantled, mentally, strategically, effortlessly, will attempt recovery. But recovery is impossible when the collapse wasn't accidental. Their ego wasn't bruised, it was exposed. There's a difference. A bruise heals. An exposure lingers. It mutates. It metabolizes into paranoia. They will now walk into every room wondering if you're about to do it again. They will second-guess every sentence they say around you. They will anticipate threats from angles that don't even exist. They'll try to convince themselves the moment wasn't as devastating as it felt. But the silence of their own crew betrays them. Their people saw what happened. Their people felt the shift. Their people registered the collapse. And now, their people are watching you. Not with fear, not with admiration, but with a cautious curiosity that borders on reverence. Because anyone who can silence a room without raising their voice possesses a kind of authority that cannot be taught or inherited. It can only be revealed. And you revealed it at the exact moment the leader's ego stretched too far into delusion. Let's talk about the internal conversations happening now, the ones they will never voice. Their crew is wondering if they aligned themselves with the wrong force all along. They're wondering if their loyalty was a mistake. They're wondering how many times your mind predicted outcomes they never saw coming. They're wondering how long you've been walking among them with the kind of cognitive sharpness that could shred their entire structure if you ever decided to. They're wondering why they didn't notice sooner. They'll feel foolish for that part. But the ego always feels foolish when reality arrives unannounced. Now something even more interesting begins. The hierarchy isn't just broken, it's dissolving. It's thinning at the edges, cracking inward, erasing itself in slow motion. But rather than falling apart with chaos, it's falling apart with silence. The kind of silence that comes after a truth too clean to argue with. The kind of silence that chokes every attempt to rebuild the illusion. The kind of silence that makes everyone hyper-aware of what isn't being said. Your presence is the silence now. Your strategy is the silence now. Your precision is the silence now. Each time you walk into the room, they will feel that silence before they see you. They'll sense the shift in air pressure, the same way they sensed it seconds before the checkmate happened. Trauma imprints quickly. Their bodies will remember the moment even if their minds try to bury it. And here's the beautiful part. Your dominance doesn't need repetition. People like them rely on repetition to maintain power. They need constant displays, constant noise, constant reminders of their authority. But you didn't rise through performance, you rose through accuracy. Accuracy doesn't require multiple demonstrations. One is enough. One clean puncture, one exposed insecurity, one demonstration of cognitive precision so sharp, it rearranged their perception. This is why they're quiet now. Not because you silenced them, but because their understanding of you silenced itself. Let's zoom deeper into their psychology. Their leader's ego was the central thread holding their group narrative together. Remove the thread, and the narrative unravels. Even if the leader tries to reinforce it, patch it, glue it back together, the unraveling has already begun. They'll attempt to regain control. But their attempts will look forced, brittle, almost theatrical. They'll raise their voice slightly louder than necessary. They'll try to crack jokes that no longer land. They'll glare at crew members who hesitate too long. They'll overcorrect, overcompensate, overreact. Because when someone knows the illusion is dying, they try to perform the illusion harder. But the crew won't buy it anymore. Not after what they witnessed. The checkmate you delivered was the kind that leaves a psychological residue. It sticks, it haunts, it replays. Unlike arguments or insults or emotional outbursts, which can be rationalized away, precision cannot be denied. Precision is the enemy of ego because it operates on truth. And the ego fears truth more than it fears attack. Now comes the part you need to understand about your new position. You are not replacing the leader. You are not becoming the new authority. You are becoming something far more destabilizing, an independent variable in a system that depends on predictability. You don't belong to their hierarchy anymore. You exist parallel to it, above it, outside it. They cannot categorize you. They cannot anticipate you. They cannot dismiss you. And they cannot challenge you without risking another collapse. To challenge someone who uses noise is safe. To challenge someone who uses precision is suicidal. They know that now, whether consciously or not. And you'll see the signs everywhere. People will approach you differently. Some will test boundaries cautiously, just to measure how far your clarity extends. Some will avoid testing you at all, treating you with the kind of respect usually given to a dangerous truth rather than a dangerous person. Some will attempt to get closer to you, hoping proximity will grant them access to the insight you displayed. They'll want to understand you, not because they're curious, but because they're trying to feel safe again. But safety isn't something you offer. Safety is something you dismantled. Safety is something you exposed as an illusion, held together by ego-based confidence. And that's why they still can't breathe normally around you. Let's speak on the leader one more time. Their downfall is not complete. It's ongoing. They're not just fighting embarrassment. They're fighting identity collapse. Their entire persona depended on the illusion of intellectual dominance. Then you arrived with a single stroke that dissolved it. A persona that relies on untested superiority cannot handle being tested. It cracks instantly. And once cracked, it leaks insecurity everywhere. You'll notice them glancing at you more often, waiting for another strike. Every time you adjust your expression, they'll interpret it as a message. Every silence will feel like judgment. Every calm movement will feel like strategy. You have become the mirror they can't escape, the mirror that shows them what they pretend not to see. And here's where the next phase emerges. The crew will begin redirecting their attention away from the leader and toward the silence around you. Not because you're louder, not because you're imposing, but because you represent competence without theatrics. And competence without theatrics is magnetic. It pulls eyes, it pulls awareness, it pulls loyalty in subtle, unconscious ways. You didn't ask for loyalty, you earned gravity. And gravity pulls whether it wants to or not. Over time, the crew will begin making micro-adjustments in their social alignment. They'll speak to you more carefully. They'll defer to your interpretations. They'll wait to see your reactions before forming their own. They won't say they trust you. They won't admit they fear you. They won't acknowledge the hierarchy shift occurring beneath their feet. But they will behave in ways that confirm it. Power isn't declared. Power is revealed, and your reveal already happened. Your checkmate wasn't an ending. It was induction. Induction into a new psychological category in their minds. The category reserved for people who see what others miss, who strike without warning, who dismantle egos without touching them. This is what destabilizes them the most. They can prepare for aggression, but they cannot prepare for accuracy. So the question becomes, what happens now? What happens after the silence? What happens after the recalibration? What happens when a group tries to function under the pressure of an unspoken hierarchy shift? The answer is simple. They fracture. Not explosively, not dramatically, not publicly. They fracture quietly from the inside in three distinct ways. First, those who fear clarity will drift away from their leader because they hunger for stability. But they will not come to you. They will simply detach. They no longer trust someone whose ego can be punctured that easily. Second, those who recognize clarity will begin mirroring your behavior subconsciously. They'll adopt your calm. They'll imitate your silence. They'll pick up cues from the way you observe instead of react. They will follow the person whose mind proved itself. Third, those who depended on the illusion will cling desperately to the leader, because without the illusion, they have no identity. They'll become louder, more defensive, more reactive, as a way to hide the fact that the person they relied on is crumbling. Your precision created these fractures. Your checkmate accelerated these fractures. Your presence deepens these fractures every time you walk into the room. And here is the final truth, the part they will never admit but will always feel. You cannot unsee someone's collapse once you've seen it. A leader whose ego was punctured with precision will never look powerful again. And a mind that executed that puncture becomes unforgettable. Your move didn't just alter the moment. It altered the mythology of the room. You became the one variable everyone must calculate around. You became the one mind they cannot afford to underestimate. You became the checkmate they never saw coming, but will always remember. And as the fracture spreads, as the narrative rewrites itself, as the silence grows heavier, One truth rises above everything. You didn't just win. You redefined the entire game. And now the question that haunts them is the same one that will carry us into the final understanding. If you could puncture an ego with that much precision, wonder what would happen if you ever decided to do it again. Because they know the answer. They just don't want to say it.